Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here today. I'm sorry, it's just so funny to say, hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. And I'd have to say that every episode. And then almost every episode, Safi isn't even on there. I mean, it's hilarious. It's it's really funny. It's really funny if you think about it, because that's what I was taught to do. You know, when I looked up how to be a YouTuber, I looked up some videos of advice. I looked at my favorite YouTubers. One of the things was you got to start every video the same, because then people know it's you. They know it's your videos. So you got to start every video with, hey everybody, it's blah 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 blah. Or you got to start every video going, hey guys. Or you pick an intro, that's what you start with. And with this, it's so funny, because this channel used to be, every video she'd be in it, and now it's like only 5% of videos she's in. And I apologize for that. It's not really my fault, but I apologize anyway, because, if I probably got her to watch these movies and review them, she probably would. It takes too much time to do that. It's a real waste of my energy to have to do that all the time. Have to try to pressure her to watch some bullshit she doesn't want to watch. And it's hard for me too. Last night I watched this Boss Baby 2, and it was so painful. It was like, and I was actually, the funny thing is, I was actually excited for it. I thought the first one was bad, in my opinion. It was really needless and unnecessary. And it really didn't have anything going for it other than the fact that it had some funny stuff, with Alec Baldwin at the beginning, playing the same character he always plays. He played this character in that 30 Rock, whatever that show was, 3 Rock, 300 Rock. I don't know what that show is. He played the same character in that, though. He played the same character in a talk radio. He plays the same character on Shit NL, SNL, the shittiest comedy show in history. He plays the same character over and over again. Glengarry Ross, and and so Boss Baby, he actually, it kind of fit. It was funny at first, but then when I saw the actual story, I was like, WTF is this shit? I mean, the first story was just awful. It was like, what? They explain how babies are made, and it's like this really convoluted, complicated, weird way where they're created at a company. It's like, no, that's not how babies are made. Babies are made when a man gets a real nice whammon, and well, I'm not going to get into that, but, you guys obviously know that, hopefully, if you're watching this video. But there are people nowadays are so sheltered that even when they reach adulthood, they have no idea about anything in the real world, because they've been so sheltered their whole life. And this movie, I don't know who it's for. That's another thing. Because this movie is 2 hours. I don't know whose idea it was to start making kids movies 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. I mean, Cruella was like 2.5 hours. I was like, oh my god. 2.5 hours of Cruella is like... But then you got Boss Baby. The movie that should only be an hour and 20 minutes max. And yet it's 2 hours. Please turn it off. Stop making me watch this stuff. It's so painful. I mean, this movie It was bad. It was really bad. And it was so unnecessary, even more unnecessary than the first one. It has a couple of things going for it. I think that even though I really wish that Tobey Maguire would have been in this movie, because Tobey Maguire's like one of my favorite actors, regardless of what he did with the first movie he was in or whatever, Don's Plum, trying to cancel that director, who's a promising young director, and Tobey tried to cancel him. That's some disgusting and sinister shit that he did with that, but he's a really great actor, and I watch anything that he's in. And I really wish he would have been in this, but he wasn't, and James Marsden replaced him, and he did a pretty good job. I liked him in it. I'm getting a little burned out by James Marsden being in, like, everything, though. Like, every single thing. Like, Peter, is he in Peter Rabbit? He's in Sonic. He's in this. He was in that shitty Amber Heard domestic abuser show, The Stand. He's in everything nowadays, and it's funny because he never really gets that role that he really gets to shine in. He just always gets these roles where he's okay and he does a good job, but then the movies are just like, ugh. Like, this movie was really, ugh. I mean, come on. You got James Marsden. And I'll talk about the rest of the cast. I want to get through this stupid plot. I'm already 7 minutes and I haven't even talked about the plot. What kind of a movie reviewer am I anyway? What kind of a hack movie reviewer, fake movie? God, sometimes I hate myself when I review things because I have no format or anything. It's just all free, everything. Like, I never would have said that if I'd scripted it, and I'm never going to script what I say except for, like, longer analysis videos, which I will be doing soon. Anyways, the plot, you got James Marsden. He's basically turned in, the original, he was the adult Tobey Maguire. His character was just like a normal adult man. Like, he just, he wasn't any character in particular. He was just the adult narrator. And then at the end of the movie, he was just, the same thing. They didn't show his face, which was really weird. I thought that was really weird, actually. Because then it makes you wonder, why even make a second one if you don't show their faces in the first one? And that was a really bizarre decision. See, the first one was bad. The first one was also really bad. It's just that the first one, it was the original one, and so it had a lot more original ideas, a lot more funny things, and it wasn't a feminazi movie either. But now, he's basically turned into Link from Good Mythical Morning. I mean, if you've ever seen Good Mythical Morning and you look at Link, I mean, this character's, he looks exactly like him except for the hair, the color hair. He doesn't have the accent, the South Carolina accent, or however you do that accent. I don't know. I was just going into some random accent there. But he's exactly like him. And I guess he doesn't want to grow up. I guess that's the story. Which is really weird because there's so many kids' movies where the message is, even though you grow up, you should still keep that kid alive in you. But for some reason nowadays, in the feminazi era, we're starting to get into the, you gotta grow up, you gotta become an adult, and you gotta become like this boring, lifeless facade of yourself. You gotta become a zombie. You gotta become this dumb, boring person who no one cares about. You gotta become a stiff. You cannot be like a kid anymore when you're an adult. You cannot have any more joy in you because that would be childish and immature. And so basically, he's got a daughter, Tabitha. Thank God I remember any names from this movie. I mean, I don't even remember the dad's name. What's his name? Peter? Tim? I remember definitely one thing that was funny was he had a fake name, and he called himself Marcus Lightspeed. And the reason why it was so funny was like every time Jeff Goldblum, he is the clear best part of this movie. He plays the villain, but I'll get into that later. But this character, he's got to learn to grow up, and he's got this daughter. She's going to the special Acorn school where they teach babies to be astronauts and surgeons. And if you think that sounds fucking retarded, you haven't even heard the worst stuff in this movie. And she basically thinks her dad is an immature piece of shit. And she doesn't like him and she doesn't respect him. And it's like, ugh, gross, like some feminazi propaganda. What it really reminded me of was like Uncharted 4. You know, the way that Nathan, you know, he really loved, you know, playing in his attic and everything. And his wife was like discouraging him and she didn't want him to do it anymore. And you know, that sort of same storyline. So yet again, these feminazi projects, they all are the same. They all have the same stories, the same things that happen, because they're all about the agenda. And in this movie, it's all about that agenda. And they had another weird story to this. See, this movie was really confused. It didn't know what main story it wanted to be. Because then there's the story, this manufactured drama where him and his is he Tim? Is the guy's name Tim? I don't know. But the guy from the first movie, played by Alec Baldwin, now him and his brother have become distant to each other because some reason we don't really know. It's basically really manufactured drama that's just created for this movie to happen. And so they gotta get back together. They gotta bond. They gotta become friends again as brothers. And so that's another story. And then another story is that the baby girl is a boss baby too. And you know where feminazi agendas come from that. And she even wears a man's suit even though she's a girl. And you know, like why didn't they give her a skirt to wear? Why didn't they give her some, you know, proper businesswoman attire? No, they give her a suit. And there's no difference in the suit except for like the fact that the tie is like a clip-on gold one or something. But other than that, they make no attempt to make the suit look any different. And it's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. And so the main plot is that the baby and baby core, they want the two brothers to infiltrate this Acorn school and basically destroy it and take it down because it's really dumb. It's teaching babies to like take over and become like do all the roles that the adults would do and get rid of the parents, I guess, and it's such a complicated, confusing plot. I don't know what kid could follow this and really like be invested enough to care. I mean, I don't even want to explain it all. I mean, it would take like 30 minutes to explain the whole plot. That's how convoluted it is. And this bitch got a pony. She's got a pony, this perfect pony, and they never even care about where the pony is, cause like the pony is helping the two boys, and they get turned back into babies again. Of course, Tim, I guess the main guy, I can't remember his name, but he gets turned into like a kid so he can have this, and that's another plot, is the typical cliche plot where two characters are having conflict, and then one of the characters gets a disguise and then bonds with that character and basically learns why they're in conflict so that he can improve himself. You know, like in Jingle All the Way, where Arnold puts on the costume, and so then he talks to Jamie, and Jamie confesses to him about his problems, and you know, it's that same and that's one of the biggest issues of this movie, is that it is just the same shit we have seen over and over again. The same cliches, it is just so boring and so like been there, done that. What a pathetic excuse for a kid's movie. I mean, it just shows the state of Hollywood. They can't even get Boss Baby right. I mean, you guys made Baby Geniuses in the 90s. Baby Geniuses is a Criterion Collection masterpiece in comparison to this movie. That's how bad this movie really is. This movie is really bad. And then you have the feminazi stuff in it. They have little touches here and there, like little jabs, little agendas. Like one part you see in Tabitha's room, or Tabby, whatever the fuck her name is. She's got a telescope and it's got a sticker that says the feminist scientist. And it's like, God, this is fucking cringeworthy. And then like the grandparents come and they're like asking if the girl is old enough to vote yet. And it's like, this is just cringeworthy jokes, cringeworthy little agenda parts, and probably the worst part, the most queer part, is at the end. There's this final battle where they're literally fighting inside the Acorn in the Acorn school. And if you... I don't know who wanted to see that, except for maybe like someone really, really weird who wanted, like one random person who like, oh, I want to, you know what I want to see in the Baby Genius? I mean, not the Boss Baby. You know what I want to see in Boss Baby too? I want to see them fight inside of an acorn. Not like a real acorn, but like a big acorn that's in the Acorn school. And it just happens to be in the center of the school. And it just happens to have the server for the cell phone. Oh, God, I hated this movie. I hated it so much. But this little agenda, basically, and I'll say this, you know, the female Boss Baby was trash. Tina, I think her name was. She was just complete garbage. She had no originality. There was nothing unique about her being a Boss Baby. Like with Alec Baldwin, you know, where Alec Baldwin is clearly playing that character that he always plays. They really should have gotten a better actress. You know, I really like the actress. You know, I've been watching her in Monk recently as Sharona's sister. And she was really hot in Monk, too. I gotta say that. But she is not... I don't really think that she fits this character at all. And I really think that they should have gotten a woman who's, like, known for playing a female boss character. And so I think they should have gotten the woman who played Jan in The Office. She would have been perfect. I would have loved this movie if she was the Boss Baby, because that would have made so much more sense. Get an actress who has played that type of character before, because that's what worked about the first one. Not the first one's story. It was the fact that Alec Baldwin was playing Alec Baldwin. But this agenda, back to the agenda, which, you know, I always got to talk about the agenda. But just to get that out of the way so I can talk about the only good thing about this movie. You know, I'm 18 minutes in, still haven't said one good thing about the movie, basically. Except for, I guess, James Marsden was good. Alec Baldwin was trash in this movie, by the way. He really, you know, it's just, the shtick that he's done, it's just really worn off. But back to the agenda. Tina, well, okay, I gotta spoil it. So I'll get to the agenda and the spoiler. I would rate, you know what I rate this movie? You know that feeling where you go to the store and you get a candy that you had once as a kid, and you're like, oh, I wonder what that's like now. And then you eat it, and it's like really gross and sugary, and you're like, ooh, I like this as a kid? So I would rate this movie, you know, there's so many different candy. The one candy I think is gross that I used to love as a kid sometimes, lemon heads. Ugh. I hate lemon heads now. You get them, they're just so gross. So gross. You suck on them. It's just nothing but sugar and lemon. And it's like, why would I want to have that when I could have like lemon cookies or lemon cake or lemonade even? You know, why would I want to suck on a ball that has lemon flavor in it? Lemon heads is what I would rate this movie. This movie is trash. So let's get to the spoilers finally. the main villain, played by Jeff Goldblum, he is actually a baby disguised as a human, which I thought was actually cool. That was one of the coolest things about the movie. And he has two suits, I guess. He's got his main suit that he always wears, and then he's got his leisure suit. And it's basically like a robot suit. And so Tina puts on the robot leisure suit to basically fight Jeff Goldblum, because the main two male characters, that's another feminazi trope, is that in feminazi movies, the male characters are always stupid and incompetent, and that's what the male characters are in the whole movie, stupid and incompetent. The only thing good that the male characters do is that the main guy, he learns to be a better dad, kind of, but just by like listening to his daughter and talking to her, and it's really weird. It just does not. God, the story is so stupid, but she put on the suit, and then they go up against the bad guy, and the bad guy's like, "That's my leisure suit," and then Tabitha is like, "It fits her better," and it's like, God, this is so so cringeworthy agendas here. It fits her better. I mean, how more obvious could you get? You couldn't get more obvious if you tried. And another feminazi agenda trope that we've seen, and in fact I just saw it yesterday in the Tomorrow War. Remember I talked about how you'll have a male character be instructed not to do something, and then the female character will yell at him after he does it? Well, we have a scene like that in this movie, where the main guy, he comes home, and he talks to Tina, and Tina's like, "Why did you leave the mission?" And it's like, "Because I had to, because Alec Baldwin kicked me off." And she's like, "I am in charge here. You're not off the mission." And it's like, this is so... So the movie was just full of that cringeworthy agenda stuff. And the ending was trash too. Just everything in this movie was trash. Except for Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum's villain was amazing. He was basically like this really insane, over-the-top, goofy guy who leads the Acorn School, and he it's so funny, he just eats candy and ice cream all the time. He's just shoving candy into his mouth. He's just chugging soda. It's really funny, and it's a really great character. And so I thought that he did a fantastic job playing the villain. He is probably one of the better DreamWorks villains, to be honest. I mean, even though this movie's bad, he's a better villain than like some of the villains in like the Shrek series, because he's just so great, the actor. And whenever he says Marcos Lightspeed, he pronounces it in like a really like special, unique way, where he goes like, "Marcos Lightspeed." It's really funny, just every time he says it, Marcos. I just laughed every time he would say that. And like he would speak in like a million different languages too. It was so funny with him. He did such a great job. And then some of the things with the school, like how there's not an actual teacher. It's him on this video chat screen, which, is really realistic nowadays after we saw what happened last year. And so he's not actually in class, he's on a video chat. And just everything with him, he was the best in the movie. Other than that, this movie was garbage. I would not recommend you show this movie to your kids. It's 2 hours long. It's miserable. The story is stupid. The movie is stupid. It is a terrible movie. And it's really like just a shame that kids' movies nowadays, I mean, this movie is like PG-13, but it's like a preschool level movie. Like, that's how babyish it is. And I don't understand that, because the first movie, the first movie was a lot more, it was not this babyish. So they made this, it's called The Boss Baby. They've somehow made Boss Baby more babyish after just one movie, and then they did a shitty TV series too. So do not check out this movie. It is terrible. If you do check it out, though, just watch it for Jeff Goldblum. He is the only redeeming part about this movie. Other than that, ugh. So please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought of The Boss Baby Part 2, and then subscribe to our channel if you want to see more honest movie reviews, because I am honest, and I am not going to stop being honest about film. I am going to tell you, I'm going to tell you the truth. I am going to tell you exactly what is going on with these movies. I am not going to mince words like Safi. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.